Hey guys, I'm glad you're able to find this video. Today we're going to be going over how to write or find, write, and submit your types of asexual reproduction and cell cycle quiz, as well as genetics. But to find the quiz, it is in my Google Drive. Some people have been struggling finding it, so I just want to walk you through that. So you go to our school website, you click on staff, and you scroll down to Mrs. Cote. So you go down. Usually this would be in a straight line, but for some reason it's showing up underneath. So you find Mrs. Cote. Here's my web page. And here it is. So we're Science 9, so we click here and we go down. So we have the instructions for Remind if you want to be able to get text messages or emails as reminders from me. We have our online textbook. We have our video YouTube link. We have a link to check your marks. Unfortunately, these are not up to date, so I've been emailing instead. And then we have here, so you click here to find the notes, worksheets, and assignments. And then as you see, I'm not logged in as anyone, so this is what you guys should see as well. So we're in biology, we're at home, and we have our 4 lessons. So today is lesson number 4. So I click on there, and there are 2 things that are in here. We have our quiz, our asexual and cell cycle quiz, and we have genetic zoo nursery. And that is your assignment for this week. It is a game. I'm just going to open it quickly to show you. You go to this link, and it will take you to a game. On the Legends of Learning, and it's all about genetics. And what you do is, as you play the game, it comes up with a bunch of prompts and a bunch of information, and you answer the questions. So it's kind of fun to be able to play. It's talking about saving a bunch of the baby animals that got switched in the nursery and connecting them with their parents. If you are unable to access this, please let me know, and I'll put up an alternate assignment that you'll be able to do without the game. So there are quite a few questions. It looks really spaced out because, as you can tell, it is really spaced out. There's 48 questions, but it doesn't take very long to get through it. Your quiz, on the other hand, is right here. So what I do is I click on it and it'll open a new thing for me. And it says Asexual in the Cell Cycle Quiz. Perfect. What is your pseudonym? So this came in an email on Friday. For any of you that I had access to a personal email, I emailed it both to your parents and to your email. If I did not have access to your email, I did send it to your parents. These were all random Disney characters. There was no picking and choosing. I looked up a list of 100 Disney characters and just started naming you guys after them. If you do have an issue with your character, please let me know. This is just a way for me to connect your quiz to you. So you type in your name. So I'm going to go with Violet. So my pseudonym, I'm pretending, is Violet, and then I start answering the questions. So what is an example of an organism that uses budding? And I click one of these answers. Don't quote me on this. I'm choosing random ones. I'm not choosing correct ones. What type of asexual? Let's say that starfish use spore formation. And so I continue to go through this. I select my answers. As you see, I'm not even reading the questions anymore. And then I get down to the ones where are squares. So circles, you only choose one option, and if you try and choose a different one, it only selects the last one you did. The squares are a little bit different. So as I put, you can choose multiple answers. And to give you a hint, look at how many points it's out of. Because however many points it's out of is how many of these you need to select. And this one, as you can see, you can select all of them if you wanted. But if it's out of 4 points, I want 4 selections. This one's out of 3 points, I want 3 selections. This one's 3 points, I want 3 selections. And then I'm back to the circles where they're 1 point and it's just one thing that I want you to choose. Now to our last 2 questions. Our last 2 questions are written questions, and you need to answer them in a sentence or 2. So if this is 2 and this is 2, that means I generally want at least 2 sentences, or I'm looking for 2 things. So how did the fishermen cause the starfish population to increase, and explain why? So that means I want how they did it, and I want to know why it worked, which means those are the 2 main things I'm looking for you to get 2 points. And this, you just type in your answer. Same with this last one. So this last one is about the tree of 40 fruit. I briefly talked about it in lesson 1. I asked you to watch a video that I had linked underneath. Well, if you didn't watch the video or you forget what the video is, I actually have linked it here. So you can press here and watch the video again, and then you can answer your question. When you're done everything, sorry, when you're done everything, I'm just going to type randomness, you hit submit. And your response has been recorded. So view score. If you do this, you can actually see which questions you got wrong and which questions you got right. And it shows you what the right answer was. Except for the last 2 questions. The last 2 questions I'm going through personally, and I will be including it on the next mark update. I just don't want it to mark your sentences because I don't trust it. So today's notes are going to be going over genetics. So we've been talking about how we get 1 chromosome from each parent. And this allows us to have our genetic diversity. Well, don't forget, we also have crossover, which means that this chromosome that we're getting from mom, we're not just getting grandma's or grandpa's gene, we're actually going to get a mixture of their genes. Same with dad, we're not getting grandma or grandpa's gene, we're getting a mixture of the genes. But this pair, the one from mom and one from dad, is called a homologous or homologous chromosomes. And these mean that they're the same size and they have genes at the same locations. The same gene. So say the gene for eye color is here, it's going to be exactly at the same spot on the other one. But just because it has the same gene doesn't mean that it'll show the same thing. One parent might have blue eyes, the other one might have brown eyes. These variations of the same gene are called alleles. And these are usually represented by letters. We usually choose, when we're talking about a gene, we choose one letter, and the different variations are done by lowercase and capital. So if we're talking about brown eyes and green eyes, and we say that brown eyes are more prevalent or more common, then we use a capital B. Brown and green, brown will be shown as big B, green will be shown as little b. So we have two different alleles, and like I said, one is more prevalent than the other, which is generally means that it's more dominant. And that means it'll mask the recessive gene. Which means if it is present, it is the thing that's shown. Recessive, on the other hand, is only shown if there are two of them. So this would only be shown if there's two little b's, whereas dominant would be shown if there's a big B, or a big B, little b. This gets us into our phenotype and genotype. So genotype is what the genes are, or what the alleles are. So this will be our big B, big B, big B, little b, little b, little b. Phenotype is what we see. Brown eyes, green eyes. So as you see, there's three different possibilities when we're just using one letter and capital and lowercase letters. And so if we have two of the same letter, they're called homozygous. So they'll be big B, or little b, little b. If they are two different alleles, they're called heterozygous. Big B, little b. So you'll hear in some questions, especially in grade 10, it'll say something like homozygous dominant, homozygous recessive, or heterozygous dominant. So if it's heterozygous and dominant, that means it has to be big B, little b. It doesn't really exist to be heterozygous recessive, because if there are two letters, it's going to be the dominant one that shows through. Or you'll see homozygous dominant and homozygous recessive. This is the way we're able to tell the difference between the different genotypes. Because if you look, both of these are dominant. So just saying that the dominant trait is shown doesn't tell you which of these two are the genotype for that person. But if we said heterozygous dominant, we know it has to be big B, little b. If we said homozygous dominant, we know it has to be big B, big B. There are different types of dominance, so this one is just our basic genetics, but on the game it goes through codominance, where both traits are shown when heterozygous. We have incomplete dominance, which is a mixture or a new trait. Again, when it's heterozygous, it doesn't, when they're homozygous, that's the trait that will be shown, but when heterozygous with codominance, both of the traits are shown. This is commonly found in blood types. Incomplete dominance, a mixture or a new trait. A lot of the times when we talk about this, we talk about having a red flower and a white flower, and if you breed those two together, you'll get a pink flower because it's a mixture of the red and the white. But during the game, they do go through this, but they don't make it very complicated. I really like their approach. In grade 10, you'll actually go through a more thorough discussion of these different types, and you'll be able to see the difference and how it works at a chromosomal level. Well, I think that is everything you need for the game. It does go over these again, just so that you are for sure aware of what these different things are. I hope you guys have a great day, and next week I have scheduled the biology test. It'll be in the same format as your quiz today. So you'll put in your pseudonym, there'll be multiple choice, there'll be some written, and you'll be able to see your score for the multiple choice at the very end, but not for the written, because like I said, I want to mark those myself. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later.